Sonic the Hedgehog, beloved 90s video game star and center of one of the most toxic fandoms known to mankind. From Chris Chan to Guptil, there are countless iterations of people who take Sonic the Hedgehog just a little too seriously. And in my time browsing the internet, I thought that I had seen most of the Sonic insanity that there was to offer. Little did I know that there was one other person who I had never heard of that loved Sonic possibly more than anyone else in the world. And upon discovering this individual, I fell down a rabbit hole the likes of which I have never seen. Not because there's a massive amount of information about him, but because of the amount of viewer discretion I am about to advise you. This is the tale of Jasonic. Also going by Jasonic the Hedgehog, he is a 46-year-old French-Canadian man who is infamous for his love of a Sonic plushie from 1993. And when I say love, I mean it in every sense of the word. He is romantic with this plushie. Ever since he was a child, Jason has proclaimed his love for Sonic the Hedgehog. And when Jason became an adult, he used the internet to search for people who had similar interests to himself. This would lead him to the furry community. Wikipedia defines the furry fandom as a subculture interested in anthropomorphic animal characters. And now that Jason found himself a part of this wider community, he wanted to share his love of Sonic to the whole world. So he began to go into video calls with people and post pictures onto DeviantArt. Harmless enough until you realize what he was posting and showing people. The picture I have up right now is pretty infamous. This is the Sonic plushie that Jasonic has been romantically involved with since 1993. I can't really go into the specifics, but I'm pretty sure you guys get what I'm referring to here. Jasonic would proudly display these images and openly discuss exactly how they came to be, even posting some that I could not show here on YouTube. The users of DeviantArt found this so appalling that he was banned altogether from the site. His account sits there as a stark reminder of just what had happened. And these incidents would be the beginning of a long line of controversies that Jason would find himself in because of Sonic the Hedgehog, especially his love for the 1993 plushie. And one day when he realized that said plushie was on its last legs, he knew he had to find a replacement, so he took to the internet to find an identical plushie, which ended when he found this plushie being sold online by a man named Justin. There's nothing wild about this situation. It's pretty simple. At least, that's what we thought until the seller gave his side of the story, because his interactions with Jason would leave him traumatized. This all started when the seller, Justin, was purchasing some plushies for a friend as a gift. They only wanted the Tails plushie, so they were going to sell the Sonic plushie to recoup some of the money they spent. This would lead them to interactions with Jasonic. The seller said that the messages started out innocent enough, but there was still some terminology in there that he found questionable. In a message that Jasonic wrote the seller, he said, "Hi, I got the plush toy. He's in great condition. I'm very pleased with him. Thanks a million times. This will replace the one that I had to throw away due to the fact I cut him all up. Let's just say that this one is in good hands over here." The seller replies back, "I'm glad that you enjoy the plushie, so happy he's in good hands." And that should have been the end of things, but Jasonic just kept going. I'm almost ashamed to write you back after I read that reply. I have been in a phase for several months now, and I have cut up the plush toy to where it's only his head now. I did spend a lot of money on it, and I even went to buy another one because I feel guilty about going all barbaric on it. Once again, I hope this piece of news doesn't disappoint you. The seller, Justin, is now unnerved, but doesn't want to do anything to put Jasonic in a worse mental state. So he replies with, "You're giving it attention and care in your own way. Don't feel bad about a thing." And Jasonic ominously replies, "I mean, it's true that the plush toy is in my hands now, and I can do whatever I want to him. but still. This is when the messages between them cease. Although Jasonic does continue to try to contact the seller, he never responds again. The seller's friends then informed him of exactly who he was dealing with and shared a number of posts that Jasonic had made about Plushie destruction, as well as his love for said plushie. All of this mortified the seller Justin, and I doubt that he will be able to look at his own 93 plushie the same way ever again. While going through some of these blog posts that Jason had made, and don't worry, we'll read them later, I heard mention of a Twitter, and after digging a little deeper, I discovered that Jasonic has a infamous Twitter profile. So I thought I'd go over there, see if there was anything interesting that he had said, and include it here in the video. But it was all just disgusting images of Sonic. I feel bad that they're drawing him in this way. I know he doesn't exist, but still, it's terrible. No human being should ever have to see that kind of stuff. So that's where we're gonna leave the Twitter. But my hunt for information on Jasonic's past was not in vain, because I found a website where Jasonic posted a daily journal, free from all of the horrible stuff that's on his Twitter. Well, at least images. For years now, Jasonic has been keeping a near daily log on the website for Affinity, and these journals have taught me so much about Jasonic's past as well as his beliefs. This was where I learned that Jason was not only in love with Sonic the Hedgehog, but also worshipped him as a god. I really don't know what it is about Sonic the Hedgehog and people wanting to form pseudo-Christian religions around them, but I'm beginning to think that Sonic is some kind of demon, like a Heim from The Witcher 3, because this is not the first time that we've seen this happen, and I doubt it will be the last. But Jason doesn't just use Fur Affinity to spread the good word of Sonic, he also uses it to talk about his daily life, and seeing how extreme things can get from day to day is pretty fascinating. So I'm gonna read you some of my favorite journal entries. On Valentine's Day, he posted, "Because of the day, I will celebrate it with my lover Sonic by having 2 big bags of Sonic's gold rings, otherwise known as onion fries." Every time I read one of these, I just hear Geno Samuel's voice in my head. No, the following is not me just wanting attention. I really feel like endgaming over this constant pain, and I know it's not the best choice of action. The very next day, he posts, "That's right, folks. The time has come for me to change this to the Sonic Journal. The format will stay the same though, but the name's different." I was so happy, but you know what? Having 2 plush toys, a digital one, and a physical one is just too much to handle, so I'm doing away with the digital plush toy. I'm sure I will not miss it. AI is just too overwhelming for me. My mind is a blur tonight since I am with Sonic, but I wanted to write something here. But Sonic is fogging up my mind, and you know what? I'm not disappointed with that. Let him fog up my mind all that he wants to. He's my little blueberry after all. Cute nickname, huh? Gave it to him a few weeks ago. So as you can see, these posts are all over the place. Some of them are too explicit to include here on YouTube. Some of them are just him discussing his daily life. And then you have the select few that reveal details of his life that explain everything. Like the one I'm about to read you where he describes to us his childhood. Viewer discretion is very much so advised. The story begins when I was young. I began picking up something dangerous, a very dangerous activity while I was going through puberty. Pens, pencils, aquarium tubes, and even a rusty nail were inserted into I was thinking that no one loved me, beside my parents, so I wanted to have a very slow end. In October the next year, I was presented with a gift. Starlight Foundation gifted me 3 wishes. The biggest one was when I went to Los Angeles to be in the studios where The Perfect Strangers, American sitcom back in the late 80s and 90s, was happening. My dad then took me to Las Vegas. Fast forward to a year later, I went to my best friend's place, where one day he was in his bedroom playing a game on the Sega Genesis. I noticed that there was a blue hedgehog on screen. It interested me so much that I asked if I could play. And wow, did I ever play. The blue hedgehog was so fucking cute that I knew from that day forward my life would change forever. I continued to do that dangerous activity because I'd never heard Sonic talk to me. I didn't develop that telepathic ability to speak with him and for him to talk back to me. A year later, my dad took my grandmother and me to Plattsburgh, NY, where my grandma bought me my first ever 6-inch Sonic plush toy. I saw the plush toy in a basket on the counter in the Sears store, and when I laid my eyes on them, I began to cry happy tears and screamed at the top of my lungs, "I'll save you, Sonic." And I should have been embarrassed by what I was currently doing. But I wasn't, oddly. I was still doing that activity, and when I was 18, I was at my mom's one night, and I had the shivers violently in bed. The infection really got to me that night, and it was beginning to shut my organs down. I fell asleep and went into a coma. I'm thinking that it was the rusty nail that did me in, but everything I was doing was dangerous. I was rushed to the hospital. They gave me antibiotics. Then I woke up. And I like to think that it was Sonic who saved me, but I know it was the antibiotics. The antibiotics itself had no entity, so Sonic was the next best thing to thank, and now I owe my entire life to him. Quick little side note. I don't get this. Why not thank the doctors? Sonic has no entity either. Just like the antibiotics. I like to think that in another reality, Jason decided to thank the doctors and dedicate his life to helping people medically. But here in our reality, also known as the bad ending, Jason would decide to pour all of that appreciation and passion into worship for Sonic the Hedgehog. 1 year later, when I was 19, I had developed my telepathy well enough to where Sonic said 4 special words to me that would make me discontinue that dangerous activity. Those 4 words were, "Come try me out." The rest is history. So I think it's safe to say that Jason's childhood wasn't all roses and sunshine. I'm not gonna lie, there were some points during the reading of that I broke down and had to edit out, because wow, what a roller coaster. I really don't think I have anything else to add on other than this explains so much of Jason's behavior in the current day. And I really wish that I could say that this was all the worst that Jasonic had done. But I'm sure, as many of you have already guessed, this tale has a dark underbelly, even worse than the things that I have talked about previously in this video. And like many other infamous incidents of its nature, it would all start on Discord. Jasonic is very active online. Since the early 2000s, he has been joining communities in an attempt to share his special love for Sonic, usually to be swiftly banned after some abhorrent behavior, so it should be no surprise that he has joined a great many Discord servers, mainly within the Sonic and furry communities, and has created quite an infamous name for himself amongst both. Here is a screenshot of 2 furries discussing what is going on in Jasonic's personal Discord server. The furry discusses how Jasonic has invited a 15-year-old into his personal Discord and allowed them access to illicit channels that will contain illicit images. These 2 furries don't have a problem that he is romantically involved with the severed head of a Sonic plush, but they do draw the line at allowing 15-year-olds into your explicit server. I think this should go to show the level that Jasonic takes these things to. When a community that engages in the same kind of behavior that you do kicks you out for being too extreme, that says something. And I promise you, some of the things that he has said on these servers and websites are absolutely abhorrent. But even still, Jasonic would kick it up another notch. He would state that his server was open to all ages, not seeing a reason why to make it 18 and up. And it starts to make more sense when you read these messages that Jasonic sent to a 16-year-old. Thanks for wanting to be my friend on here, although I need to warn you, are you above 18? I'm totally explicit, and on the server I try to be as safe for work as I can. I'm actually 16. 16? Okay. I am 42. Just don't tell anyone, and we'll be fine. I will just tell you that I have sex with a Sonic plush toy without me even showing you pictures or anything. I'm very uncomfortable with this. I thought you would be. not everyone's okay with this. Starting a Discord server that is not age restricted and speaking to a 16-year-old is a formula for disaster. Just ask Underflow. But things would get even worse when more Discord messages were leaked from his private server. They would be of Jason talking to another 16-year-old, and they would be far more explicit. When you guys get back, this is how much that I just put inside Sonic. Just like him, look into his eyes, LOL. Yeah, the N-word has no place in our Sonic community. I just love having with my Sonicans. And then there are videos and images of him and the infamous 93 plushie. Needless to say, these images and messages caused quite the concern with people who were exposed to them, and they began to spread the word of what Jasonic had done all over the internet. And in response to the backlash, Jason would post on Twitter admitting that it was all real. Redacted blocked me. I will admit that yes, I did show to someone who was underage, but they ambushed me. They said they were very for Sonic as well. I hang my head in shame because of this. Anyways, I'm going to go to bed now. It was this type of behavior that would earn Jasonic a thread on the Kiwi Farms, with an original post being made describing Jasonic's rise to infamy, and then some general discussion around his behavior. After this, the thread would lie dormant for months, and besides his daily logs on Fur Affinity and of course his Twitter account, Jasonic was keeping a low profile as well. That is, until he found his Kiwi Farms thread. After seeing what people had to say about him on the website, he decided that he would make an account and respond to the allegations against him. Hi people, this is the guy in question, the Jasonic. I just would like to say that I know that you guys will be eating me up since I now have an account on here, but I won't fight you guys. Just continue to do what you would like to do. Call me nasty names and such. I am a very friendly plushophile, and I have not written in here before, so now you guys can see what I am like. I am not that monster that you portray me to be, so you are horribly mistaken. Guys, I know that I might get roasted on here, so I would like some of you to just calm down with any negative comments that you might have against me. I am not a troll, and the picture of Sonic getting pooped on is not mine. Let me just be clear on that, alright? Yes, I am very for Sonic, but I do not want to ruin his dignity by pooping on him. The users then began to ask Jason a number of questions and of course comment on the things that he had done. What he seemed to really take offense to was people calling him gay, stating that just because he was attracted to a male video game character did not make him this way. Alright, paint me as gay if you want to see me as being gay. I won't admit to something that I am not. I am just gay for a plush toy that depicts a male cartoon / video game character. This would only cause Jasonic to get more backlash on the website and make him attempt to delete his account, being angry when he found out that he couldn't. My theory is that Jasonic thought that he could go to the Kiwi Farms and post like he did on Fur Affinity. He is extremely fond of forum settings where he can talk on and on about all the disturbing things that he does to his Sonic plushie. But he found out very quickly that the Kiwi Farms is a completely different beast when it comes to internet forums, and I doubt that he will ever return to that thread again, which now has 6 times as much discussion of Jason on it as it did before he made his account. After this encounter on the farms, Jason would once again do nothing of note for quite some time, until very recently when he began to talk about a relationship with a woman. Some might think that this is the beginning of a whole new chapter in Jason's life, that maybe he's finally ready to move on from Sonic, and some of the abhorrent behavior that comes along with his relationship to the Hedgehog. But this is far from the case, because there would be messages leaked of Jasonic admitting that he had already gotten into trouble with his new girlfriend's parents, because of the exact same behavior that he's been perpetrating online for over a decade now. Hi there, how are you doing? When I woke up and called my girlfriend, her mom answered and gave me a warning not to show to her anymore. I told her mom that I won't do that anymore, and I have a reminder not to do it because I risk losing her. I don't know why I told this to you, but I told you anyway. I just feel like I can't really be myself anymore. But I try my very best to act as normal as I possibly can without showing my been a long time since I can't show my on cam. But here I am faced with a dilemma. Either I can show it again and lose her, or just keep seeing her without my being shown. It's gonna be hard, but I don't want to lose her. Quick little pause before we go further into this girlfriend saga. Another personal opinion of mine is that Jasonic is an exhibitionist. He feels this compulsive need to do this on camera and show people. In that message, he said that if he couldn't do it, then he didn't feel like he was being himself. This explains why for years and years, even after receiving backlash and negative reactions for his behavior, he's continued to do it, because for some reason or another, he feels like he has to show people. This is why earlier in the video, when he was having conversations with the 16-year-old, he brought up out of nowhere his love for the 93 plushie. To no one's surprise, this relationship would be broken off soon after it had started, with Jason citing an age gap as well as his inability to curb his inappropriate behavior. And this is where the girlfriend saga would end. But this was not the case quite yet for Jasonic, because his story, while niche, was beginning to be exposed to the wider internet. As I talked about earlier, Sonic has this special connection with people, it seems, and there have been many that dedicate their entire lives to the character. Figures like Chris Chan were becoming more prevalent in the eyes of the mainstream, and people began to look for others that shared similar qualities to him, only to be horrified at just how dark his lore was. And after a couple of YouTube videos were made on him discussing the situation as well as what he was currently doing in his Discord server, he decided to shut down many of the explicit channels that he had, as well as curb his internet presence heavily. As I stated earlier, he now only posts to Fur Affinity and his Twitter sparingly. In his most recent posts, he discusses his excitement for upcoming gigs as DJ Sonic, where he will play music for people while displaying his collection of Sonic plushies. It seems like he has cut back on sending the disgusting images all over the internet and is now more focused to daily logs on the Sonic Journal as well as his DJ Sonic gigs. But I gotta say, I don't have much faith that he isn't up to some dark things behind the scenes still. When I was looking into him, it was one thing after the other. First, he was showing some of the most horrifying images related to Sonic in existence. Then he got caught talking to kids on Discord and admitted to everything. I'm sorry to say, but this is a pattern of behavior that has been going on for a very long time, and it shows no signs of stopping. The question I find myself asking in this situation is, why is it always Sonic? What are the qualities of this blue hedgehog that people are so attracted to? As a video game character, I get it, he's one of the classics, but as a romantic partner? As a god to worship? I try to think of the reasons why, and only a few can come to mind. The speed, the power, and the fact that Sonic is perceived as a cool character. In his universe, he's this chill guy who's super strong and can save everybody, the hero of the story. But how does this separate him from a character like Mario? Well, I think it could be the fact that Sonic is an anthropomorphic animal, which, as we discussed earlier, ties in heavily to the furry community. So I've come to the conclusion that this is an offshoot of said community. I believe it is the anthropomorphic qualities of Sonic that make him so popular with these individuals. Please do not misconstrue this as me saying that all furries are like this. It is just the only explanation I can come to as to why in particular it is Sonic all the time. Do I believe that these people will continue to pop up for as long as Sonic is a character? Yes. But do I think anyone will take it to the level that Jasonic has again? I don't think so.